Paris, the city of light, a world of high fashion, golden street lamps, and the romantic hum of the Seine. But beneath the cobblestones of the 14th arrondissement, 20 meters below the feet of tourists sipping espresso, there is another city. A city that doesn't breathe, a city where light has never touched. Imagine walking down a spiral stone staircase. The air turns damp, cold. The smell of wet limestone and ancient dust fills your lungs. You move through a narrow corridor, so tight your shoulders scrape the walls. And then you see the sign. Arrête, c'est ici l'empire de la mort. Stop, this is the empire of the dead. Beyond that sign lies a nightmare, a labyrinth stretching for hundreds of miles. And lining the walls, from floor to ceiling, are the bones of an estimated 6 million people. Skulls, femurs, spines, neatly stacked, almost artistically arranged. This isn't just a grave, it's a structural masterpiece built from human remains. This is the Catacombs of Paris. But why? Why would one of the world's most beautiful cities choose to build its foundation on the dead? The answer isn't a ghost story. It's a survival thriller, a tale of a city that was literally being swallowed by its own ancestors. And to understand the darkness, we have to go back to the moment Paris began to rot. The year is 1780. Paris is a ticking bomb. It's one of the most crowded cities in Europe, and it has a problem it can no longer hide: the smell. A thick, sweet, cloying stench that hangs over the streets like a shroud. The source is Les Innocents, Paris's largest and oldest cemetery. For centuries, the city had been burying its dead in the same small plot of land. Bodies stacked on bodies, generations piled on top of each other. Over time, the ground rose higher and higher until it became less like soil and more like a saturated mass of human decay. And then the earth finally gave up. In the spring of 1780, after weeks of heavy rain, a basement wall in a building near the cemetery simply exploded. It didn't collapse from water, it collapsed under the weight of the dead. Rotting corpses and skeletal remains spilled into the basement, bringing with them a tide of filth, toxic gas, and horror. Paris wasn't just overcrowded, it was bursting at the seams. Panic hit the streets. The air near the graveyards was turning lethal. People were falling ill just living too close to the churchyards. Paris was being strangled by its own history. And the king realized a terrifying truth. If the dead were not moved, the living would join them. But where do you put millions of bodies? The answer lay in the scars of the Roman Empire, deep beneath the city. To understand the catacombs, you have to understand the stone. For centuries, Paris had been built from the ground up, literally. Roman-era miners carved massive caverns beneath the city to extract Lutetia limestone, stone used to build the bones of Paris itself. The Louvre, Notre Dame, the grand buildings that defined the skyline. But by the 18th century, Paris had become something terrifying, a city built on a void. Buildings were starting to sink. Entire streets were collapsing into sinkholes as old forgotten quarries gave way. The authorities were desperate. They had a city collapsing from below and a cemetery exploding from above. So a plan was born, a grim industrial-scale solution. They would use the dead to fill the holes. They would reinforce the foundations of Paris with the bones of their ancestors. The transfer began in 1786. Every night, for years, death convoys moved through the streets. Black-draped wagons, chanting priests, loads of bones carried from overflowing cemeteries to quarry shafts. They worked under the cover of darkness, to avoid public hysteria. And soon, the sound of wheels on cobblestones and the dry rattle of bone became the nightly soundtrack of Paris. Millions of people were shoveled down into the dark, discarded, forgotten, until one man decided that even the dead deserved order. If you enter the catacombs today, you don't see a pile of trash. You see something far worse, something cleaner, more deliberate, an art gallery of the macabre. This transformation was the work of Louis-Étienne et Ricard de Toury. He didn't just want to store bones, he wanted to create a monument. He organized the remains into the patterns we see today: walls of femurs stacked like cordwood, rows of skulls forming crosses and hearts, altars built from fragments of the human body. It is professional, orderly, and deeply unsettling. But beneath that beauty is a high-tension reality. These bone walls are functional. They act as retaining walls, holding back loose earth and reinforcing weakened tunnels. As you walk through the corridors, the pressure is palpable. You are standing under millions of tons of stone, under the weight of an entire metropolis. The humidity clings to your skin. The silence feels alive. And then it hits you. These skulls aren't just watching you, they're supporting you. The psychological weight is even greater, because in the catacombs there are no names. The king and the beggar, the saint and the sinner, their bones are mixed together. Anonymity is the final law of the deep, a reminder that in the end, we all become part of the foundation for whoever comes next.
The official catacombs, the part tourists see, is only a tiny fraction of the network. The rest is something else entirely. A dark, unregulated frontier. Nearly 300 kilometers of tunnels, off-limits, unmapped, and dangerous. This is the world of the cataphiles, illegal explorers who crawl through manholes in the middle of the night to enter what they call the Forbidden Zone. It's a world of sensory deprivation. If your flashlight dies down here, you are effectively blind. The tunnels are a maze. Every turn looks identical. There is no GPS, no cell service, just the sound of your own breathing and the drip of water echoing in the dark. And in this world, stories circulate, thriller-level legends. Tales of people finding abandoned cameras containing footage of lost explorers sprinting into the darkness until the battery died. And then there are the real cases. In 2017, 2 teenagers were lost in the catacombs for 3 days before being found by search dogs. They survived, but they emerged with severe hypothermia and a level of psychological trauma that only total darkness can produce. Because the catacombs don't just hold the dead, they swaddle the living. The sheer scale of the network means there are chambers that haven't been entered in decades, secrets hidden in the dust, private cinemas, illegal bars, and even bunkers built by the French resistance during World War II. The City of Light has a basement far more complex and far more dangerous than the streets above. Today, the catacombs are a paradox. They're a top-tier tourist attraction and a constant threat. The Inspection Générale des Carrières still patrols the tunnels, monitoring the stability of the ground beneath Paris. Every time a new building rises above, engineers have to inspect what lies below. They have to make sure the empire of death can still support the empire of the living. And that engineering is its own kind of miracle. How did 18th century workers with nothing but hand tools and tallow candles map this abyss? How did they move millions of bodies without triggering a city-wide epidemic? They did it through discipline born from necessity. They transformed a biological disaster into structural survival. And when you finally emerge from the catacombs, blinking into the Parisian sun, the city looks different. The grand boulevards feel fragile, the cafes feel temporary, and you realize Paris isn't just stone and light. It's a beautiful mask worn by a skeleton.
The Catacombs of Paris are more than a cemetery. They are a testament to human adaptation, a record of what happens when a civilization looks into the abyss of its own extinction and decides to build a future anyway. We often imagine history as something that happens above us, in palaces, in cathedrals, in battlefields. But the history of Paris is written in its bones. It's a story of grit, of engineering, of survival. It proves that even in the face of absolute decay, humans will still create order. The skulls in the catacombs aren't screaming, they're waiting, a silent empire beneath the fashion and the noise. A reminder that every great city is built on the remains of those who came before. So the next time you walk the streets of Paris, don't just look up at the Eiffel Tower. Look down. Feel the vibration of the metro, and remember the millions of souls holding you up. Because the past isn't behind us, it's under us, and in the dark, it never sleeps. If this journey into the hidden heart of Paris kept you on the edge of your seat, hit that subscribe button. There are more cities with secrets, more tunnels with stories, more mysteries waiting in the shadows. The world is deeper than you think, and we've only just scratched the surface. Until next time, keep your eyes on the lights, but never forget the dark. And remember, the empire of the dead is always open, even if you don't have a ticket.